Sometimes when you're working on a course or something like that, you may be stuck, and this is when you need to find help. And the point here is that we are here to support you. We're here to help you succeed in the goals that you set for yourself. Engineering is hard. You are going to struggle. But the thing is that you learn most when you're struggling. The struggle is part of the experience. And you know when, if you're doing something easy, it's something that you're familiar with, you're not really growing. But when you're struggling, you're doing something new, and that is hard. And that's a normal part of life at ASU in the engineering programs in particular. Right? What to do when you were struggling? The first thing is take a break and struggle some more. And the idea here is that your brain, just like a muscle, gets fatigued when you use the same muscle over and over and over again. So if you're bashing your head against your calculus homework and it's not working out for you, take a break, walk away from it for 10 minutes, and let those neurons recover. And in a minute or a few minutes, they're going to start recovering, they're going to start refreshing themselves, and they're going to start making new connections, and you'll be able to come back to your assignment or find a new solution to the problem you're trying to solve very, very quickly. That eureka moment that you have sometimes is exactly this. But sometimes you don't have the knowledge that you need to be able to power through that. Even if you, take a break and recover and feel fresh and energized, you may have a knowledge gap that you need help to fill. You can look at your peers, you can talk to your friends. There's a lot more of you as students than there are of us instructors, and each other is your greatest resource. Some of you are going to struggle with some things, some of you are going to find other things very easy, but you're often not going to struggle with the same thing at the same time. So talking to each other about it, teaching each other is going to be your greatest resource. Also, talk to the course TAs. These are assistants that are there to help you. Don't be afraid to email them. Don't be afraid to visit their office hours. Take advantage of these resources. And finally, also your professors. They are the experts in their field. They're teaching the course, and they want to see you succeed as well. So don't be afraid to ask them for help. There's a huge amount of tutoring resources available that we'll talk about a little bit later, but they are a great resource as well when you are stuck on something, when you need to see a few more examples, when you need to talk to other people that are in the same place. This is also a great place to study, as you want to be close to the resources that can help you when you get stuck. Now, all of this requires a sort of zeroth rule. All of this takes time, right? Taking a break, is time you're adding to your homework, finding help, making that contact, going to office hours, all that sort of stuff. That takes time. So the zeroth rule here is to start early. You want to give yourself time to struggle, fail, find help, and succeed. If you start late, if you do it the night before or the day before, there's not enough time for you to struggle if you get stuck on something and find the resources that you need. Start early. Start at least a week early. As soon as the assignments are open, start working on these things so that you can find the help that you need, and that ensures your success. Support in terms of peers can look like other students are struggling with the same things as you, but they're probably struggling at different times. So you may find that you can help someone on something that they're struggling with, and later when you get stuck, they are able to help you. The larger your study group, the easier this is, and there's lots of you around. So make some friends in class and help out with that. Right? Set up a study group. Working in the same space and at the same time is great. There's lots of meeting rooms on campus that are available for this, and you can use online Zoom sessions or set up a Discord or a Slack, and you have a lot of ways of contacting each other and working together and struggling through the challenges that you have. Giving and receiving help, it's important that you don't copy the answers. You want to know what it is, how you got to the answer, not what the answer is. The thing that you need to learn is how to solve these problems, how to solve these things, rather than the answers themselves. The point of homework is not to get the answer. The point is to go through the problem-solving process repeatedly so it becomes part of your natural responses. Right? When you are giving help, don't just give the answer. Give the process of finding the answer. Guide them to the answer rather than just giving it to them. If you are working with a tutor or something like that, and they just give you the answer, don't leave until they explain how they got it. And that's what you're looking for. That's the information you should actually be getting, right? With the course teaching assistants, these are often graduate students in your major. So they are high-level students. They've had a lot of success academically. They know how to solve these problems as well, and they're there to help, right? Find their office hours and the locations and do work nearby. Set up, find an empty desk, find a lab in the same building, and do your homework there, so you can always pop up to the teaching assistance area and ask for help when you need it, right? Again, asking for help, come prepared. These teaching assistants are often both doing research, their own courses, and helping out with these courses. So come prepared. When you go to ask a question, take notes on what you've already tried and why you think it didn't work. So build a theory, look at what you've already done and be able to explain what you've already done. Then write down your specific questions. Have a list of questions prepared so you can take the most advantage of the time that you have with the TA, because it's often limited. It's often only a few hours per week, but you want to make sure that you are prepared to take advantage of the time that you have with them. When you do talk to them, introduce yourself, tell them what you're working on, what class you're in, describe what you tried and where you are stuck. This gives them a lot of context on what your personal mental state is, what you're struggling with, and it allows them to figure out exactly what the problem is and then move on and then direct you to that thing. If you just come up to them and say, hey, I'm having trouble with homework assignment number 12, that is not a whole lot of information. You want to say, well, this is what I've tried. I'm not understanding what to do after this part, right? That makes it very specific on what it is that you're looking for. And they can help you very efficiently that way. And finally, ask clarifying questions. Again, don't leave until you understand not only the answer, but how the answer was arrived. If you are not getting that information, you're not able to do it yourself on your own, you're just leveraging the teaching assistant to accomplish it. You need to make sure that you understand exactly what it is that the process is so that you can do it yourself later. Some bad examples of things that you would say is, this doesn't work, can you help me, right? What we're missing here is that this is what I've tried, this is what is happening, not this doesn't work. It's what is it that is going wrong, right? Can you fix this for me? That is totally the wrong attitude. You want to know, how can I fix this? Can you tell me what I'm doing wrong here so that I can fix this, right? You want to make sure that you're internalizing the process of what it is that needs to happen in the problem-solving process, right? A good example is, hi, I'm working on this project for ASU101 and I'm having trouble with X. I've tried Y and Z, but that didn't work. I think because of A. Can you help me figure out what I'm missing? This says everything. This says exactly what course you're working on, what assignment you're working on. It says where you're stuck, what you've tried, and your own theory of what's going on. And that gives a whole lot of information to the teaching assistant. It's a very little bit of amount of work, but it gives a lot of information to the teaching assistant to be able to help you when you present this information to them, right? The TA should ask you questions and lead you to the answer. They should not give you the answer outright. Again, if they give you the answer outright, make sure that they're explaining how they got that answer. Otherwise, you're sort of being cheated out of that knowledge. You need to make sure that you understand how that's done in detail. Take notes during this process too, so that you can get through it later on your own. And be patient. Both of this takes time. It's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take some time for them to explain. It takes time to do this well, because the one-on-one teaching process is a very complicated thing, and it takes time to figure out where you are starting. Then we will build a set of questions or paths or ideas for you to follow, and then we carry it through and make sure that you're understanding. It's important that you have patience with that process. This is normal. It happens to everybody. I went to tutoring center a lot when I was a student, and it takes longer than you think, and you should allocate that time when you're working on your assignments. Another avenue of support is your professors, and your professors have the same role as teaching assistants. They're very busy. A lot of them have research responsibilities in addition to their teaching responsibilities and limited office hours. So when you go to office hours, you need to be super prepared. Knock on their office door if it's office hours. Make sure that you're, being polite and say, "Hey, do you have time? Sorry, sorry to interrupt you," anything like that. Often we are very happy to see you if you're coming during office hours. If you can't make it to office hours, make an appointment. Just after class, drop by and say, "Excuse me, could I meet with you to talk about X assignment in the next day or so?" Right? Give it a few bounds, and they may not be available. We have meetings and all kinds of stuff to do, but work out a time and try to be flexible with your time so you both can get into the room at the same time. And we'll be flexible with you. We really want to help. Right? Send an email, do a very professional email, and make sure that you're polite as well. Again, also come prepared to this office hour meeting, right? You want to have the same information that you provided to the teaching assistant. Say, "I'm stuck on this. This is what I've tried. Can you help me with this part?" Right? Writing an email to a professor needs to be respectful and to the point, right? You want to make sure that you're covering everything that you need to communicate, and you do it in a respectful way, right? "Dear Professor X, I'm in your Monday morning section of ASU 101, and I'm working on this week's assignment. I'm having trouble with part 2. Would I be able to meet you at your office in the next day or so?" Right? This is great because not only does it tell me this person is respectful, they're giving me a salutation, they're not just launching straight into it, they're using complete sentences, they're using complete correct grammar. They're spending the time to communicate with me, which makes me feel good because it's respect, right? It's mutual respect, and that's what we're trying to build here, right? This student is also telling me what section and what course they're in. I'm teaching probably 3 or 4 or 5 courses per semester, so it's important to know, to communicate what class and what assignment that what you're working on, as well as what specific part you're working on. That gives me a lot of context, and we can set up a meeting. I can prepare by looking over that assignment and remembering what it is would trip me up when I was working on it. Right? And finally, give a thank you. Just say, "Thank you for your time. I look forward to meeting you." Just something real quick like that again conveys respect, right? And always put your name in there, because sometimes if you're using something like Gmail or something like that where the handle isn't anything related to ASU, I don't know who this is, I don't know anything like that. And another thing is you might want to get a more professional handle if you have something that you've been like using in gaming or on Reddit or something like that. You want to use a handle that clearly conveys your real identity rather than sort of your online identity. Talk to your professors. We're a huge resource. Don't be afraid of us. We really want to help. We are here to help you succeed. Meeting your professor develops a good relationship, and this good relationship can help you increase your grades. On average, students that go to office hours increase their grade by nearly 1% for each office visit. This isn't like a gimme. This is the help that you get, and it's the context and the information and stuff like that. We are a great resource. Take advantage of us, right? But also be respectful of your time. Don't just plop down and start doing your homework. If you don't need my time, go somewhere else, be prepared, do the thing that you need to do, and then I'm happy to help when you're there. But if you're taking up my office and there's other people that need help, or dropping by or trying to interrupt meetings or anything like that, that's very frustrating. We're really busy people. We allocate time. We want to help you. We allocate time to help you. And if you give us a chance, we'll figure out a time where that's convenient for both of us, right? You can also go to the tutoring centers. The engineering tutoring centers are all over campus. There's tutoring centers for each department. There's tutoring centers for math and physics and for computer science and all kinds of stuff. You can go to this website and find those locations. There's a specialty SIDSI tutoring center. We also provide virtual tutoring. So after hours from, I believe, 6 to 9 p.m., hours may vary. You can contact a tutor online and get help outside of the normal tutoring center hours. You can also find tutors for your specific course at the website. The point here too is don't let people solve problems for you, right? Ask questions until you understand it, and you can write it yourself, right? Don't let someone take the keyboard from you. Don't let someone take the hardware from you. Don't let someone take your pen and then solve it for you. You need to understand how it is that the problem is solved, right? That's the important part here. And then finally, peer mentors. These are specially trained undergraduate students. You will see them in ASU 101. You also see them in your residence halls and things like that. The ASU 101 section leaders are peer mentors. There's also residential peer mentors, and they've been through the same thing relatively recently, within the last year or two. It's very fresh in their mind. They got through it. You can talk to them about the advice that they have, what information they have, and they can provide help as well. They're employed to help you succeed. And finally, if you need it, the Disability Resource Center, or the DRC, is a great resource for people with mental or physical disabilities. What they can do is they can help manage disability accommodations with faculty members, such as testing, extra quiet time, rooms, or anything like that if you need that. Also note-taking services or other equipment that's available, and as well as on-campus transportation. They also have the ability to provide interpretive or accessibility equipment if you need it. The point here is that we are here to support you. It's even in our charter. The ASU is a comprehensive public research university, measured not by whom it excludes, by whom it includes and how they succeed, right? Our goal is to help you succeed. We're here to support you, so take advantage of these resources to make sure you get everything out of this university.